The champagne bubbles danced in crystal glasses while soft jazz filled the elegant ballroom. Everyone said it looked like a fairy tale. White roses cascading from the ceiling, golden candles flickering on every table, and guests dressed in their finest attire. But fairy tales don't prepare you for the moment your world shatters into a million pieces. She had spent months planning this 10th anniversary celebration, choosing every detail with the precision of a surgeon. The ivory silk dress that hugged her curves perfectly, the menu featuring Franklin's favorite dishes, even the playlist filled with songs from their courtship. At 34, Lily Harrison believed she had built the perfect life with her college sweetheart. "Baby, you outdid yourself," Franklin whispered, his arms sliding around her waist as they surveyed their handiwork. His dark eyes sparkled with what she thought was love, but would later recognize as guilt. 10 years of putting up with me deserves a celebration." The guests mingled effortlessly, family members sharing embarrassing stories, college friends reminiscing about wild nights, and business associates networking over expensive wine. Lily's heart swelled watching their 8-year-old daughter Amara chase her 6-year-old brother Kai through the crowd, their laughter cutting through the sophisticated atmosphere. "Mommy, when do we cut the cake?" Amara asked, tugging at Lily's dress with sticky fingers. "Soon, baby girl. Go find Daddy and tell him it's almost time." But as Lily glanced across the room, searching for Franklin's familiar silhouette, she noticed something that made her blood run cold. Her best friend since childhood, Nia Williams, was nowhere to be seen. Neither was Franklin. The champagne glass slipped from Lily's fingers, shattering against the marble floor like her perfect evening was about to shatter around her. The bathroom door was slightly ajar, and the sound of hushed voices drew Lily like a moth to flame. She pressed herself against the wall, her heart hammering so loudly she was certain it would give her away. Through the crack she could see them, Franklin's hands tangled in Nia's perfectly straightened hair, their bodies pressed together in a way that spoke of familiarity, not a moment of weakness. "We can't keep doing this," Nia whispered, but her actions contradicted her words as she pulled him closer. "Lily's going to find out eventually." Franklin's laugh was bitter. "She's too trusting, too naive. She thinks everyone operates with her pure heart." His fingers traced Nia's jawline with a tenderness that used to belong to Lily. "Besides, after tonight, it won't matter anymore." "What do you mean?" Nia's voice carried a tremor of excitement mixed with fear. "I've been moving our assets. By next week, I'll have everything transferred to accounts she doesn't know about. Then we can disappear together, start fresh somewhere warm." Franklin's voice dropped to a conspiratorial whisper. "I've already contacted my lawyer about custody. With the right accusations, I can make sure she never sees Amara and Kai again." The words hit Lily like physical blows. Each revelation stripped away another layer of the life she thought she knew. 10 years of marriage, 13 years of friendship, 2 beautiful children, all of it built on lies. Her legs threatened to give out, but something deeper than heartbreak began to burn in her chest. Something that tasted like vengeance. She backed away slowly, her mind already calculating. If they wanted to play dirty, she'd show them what dirty really looked like. Lily retreated to the kitchen, her mind racing as she tried to process the magnitude of their betrayal. The catering staff bustled around her, oblivious to the drama unfolding just rooms away. She needed air, space to think, but most importantly, she needed information. Her phone buzzed with a text from her sister Kira. "Girl, you need to see this. Check Nia's Instagram story from last week." With trembling fingers, Lily opened the app. There it was, a picture of Nia draped in diamonds she'd never seen before, standing next to a luxury yacht. The caption read, "Grateful for all my blessings. #blessed, #living my best life." But it was the reflection in Nia's sunglasses that made Lily's breath catch. An elderly white man with silver hair and expensive taste, his arm possessively around Nia's waist. "Reginald Ashworth," Lily whispered, recognizing the billionaire philanthropist from Society pages. At 72, he was known for his charitable donations and his weakness for beautiful young women. More importantly, he was known for his failing health and his tendency to shower his companions with extravagant gifts. Suddenly, the pieces clicked into place. Nia's new designer wardrobe, her mysterious absences from their weekly coffee dates, her evasive answers about her sudden financial stability. She'd been playing both sides, keeping Franklin on the hook while securing her future with an aging billionaire. But what Nia didn't know was that Lily had grown up 3 blocks from Reginald's childhood neighborhood. Her grandmother had worked as his family's housekeeper for decades, sharing stories about the lonely boy who grew up to become one of the city's most powerful men. Stories that included his deepest fears, his greatest regrets, and most importantly, his desperate desire for genuine connection in his golden years. A slow smile spread across Lily's face. If Nia wanted to play chess, it was time to show her what a grandmaster looked like. The anniversary party continued around her like a macabre theater performance. Guests laughed and danced, completely unaware that the guest of honor was plotting the downfall of her marriage. Lily moved through the crowd with practiced grace, accepting congratulations and making small talk while her mind worked at lightning speed. "Mommy, you look sad," Kai observed with the brutal honesty of childhood, tugging at her dress. "Are you okay?" Lily knelt to his level, smoothing his cowlick with gentle fingers. "Mommy's fine, baby. Just thinking about some grown-up stuff. Can you do me a favor?" Kai nodded eagerly, always ready to help. "Find your sister and go to our neighbor Grandma Rose. Tell her Mommy needs you both to have a sleepover tonight. It's a surprise for Daddy." The lie tasted bitter, but protecting her children from the inevitable explosion was paramount. As Kai scampered away, Lily pulled out her phone and began typing 3 carefully crafted messages that would set her plan in motion. The first went to her private investigator, a woman she'd hired months ago when she first suspected Franklin's infidelity. The second went to her divorce attorney, requesting an emergency meeting. The third went to an old family friend who worked as Reginald Ashworth's personal assistant. "Lily, there you are." Nia appeared beside her, cheeks flushed with champagne and guilt. Her red dress, a gift from Reginald no doubt, hugged her curves perfectly. "This party is absolutely magical. You've outdone yourself, girl." "Have I?" Lily's smile was razor sharp. "I was just thinking the same thing. Some parties are so memorable they change everything." Nia's eyes flickered with something that might have been fear, but she recovered quickly. "Where's Franklin? I wanted to congratulate him on landing that new client." "Oh, he's around somewhere," Lily said airily. "Probably taking care of some business. You know how he is about seizing opportunities." The double meaning wasn't lost on either of them. 3 days after the anniversary party from hell, Lily sat in her private investigator's cramped office, staring at photographs that confirmed her worst fears. Diana Richards had been thorough: hotel receipts, restaurant charges, even surveillance photos that left no doubt about the nature of Franklin and Nia's relationship. "It's been going on for 8 months, Diana said, her voice professionally neutral. "Always the same hotel, always charged to Mr. Harrison's personal credit card. He wasn't even trying to hide it. But it was the financial records that truly staggered Lily. Franklin had been systematically draining their joint accounts, transferring money to offshore holdings she'd never heard of. Their children's college funds, her inheritance from her grandmother, even the life insurance policies, everything was being moved beyond her reach. "There's more," Diana continued, sliding another folder across her desk. "About Ms. Williams and Mr. Ashworth. She's been playing a dangerous game." The photographs showed Nia in various locations with the elderly billionaire, charity galas, private dinners, weekend getaways to his estate. But the most interesting pictures were the ones taken without Nia's knowledge. Reginald alone, looking frail and increasingly dependent on a walker, signing documents with shaking hands while Nia watched from across the room. "She's already on his will," Diana explained. "But here's the interesting part, she's not the only one. Ashworth has a pattern. Young, beautiful women who provide companionship in exchange for financial security. But none of them ever inherit the bulk of his estate. That goes to whoever can prove they truly understand him, who connects with his past." Lily studied the photos, her mind already forming a plan. What does his past look like? Lonely. His parents died when he was 12. Raised by housekeepers and tutors. Never married, no children. He's built an empire but never built a family. Diana's expression softened slightly. "He's not a bad man, Mrs. Harrison. Just a lonely one who's afraid of dying alone." As Lily left the office, clutching the evidence of her husband's betrayal, she felt something shift inside her chest. The pain was still there, sharp and constant, but it was joined by something else. Purpose. Reginald Ashworth's penthouse occupied the entire top floor of the city's most exclusive building. As Lily stepped off the private elevator, she was struck by the contrast between the opulent surroundings and the profound loneliness that seemed to permeate every corner. Priceless art hung on the walls, but family photos were notably absent. "Miss Harrison?" A distinguished man in his 50s approached. "I'm James, Mr. Ashworth's personal assistant. He's waiting for you in the library." Lily followed him through rooms that looked more like museum exhibits than living spaces. When they reached the library, she found Reginald Ashworth exactly as she'd expected. Distinguished but frail, intelligent eyes studying her from behind wire-rimmed glasses. "Please sit," he said, his voice carrying the weight of decades. "James tells me you're Eleanor Watson's granddaughter. She was a remarkable woman." "She spoke of you often," Lily replied truthfully. "You gave her the first vacation she'd ever taken, remember? To see her sister in Georgia. She never forgot that kindness." Something shifted in Reginald's expression. Surprise that someone remembered, perhaps, or pleasure at hearing Eleanor's name spoken with such love. "She raised you well, I imagine." Eleanor had strong opinions about character. "She did. She also taught me that true wealth isn't measured in dollars." Lily settled into the leather chair across from him. "She said you understood that better than most people realize." For the next hour they talked about Eleanor, about family, about the weight of expectations and the price of success. Lily was surprised to find herself genuinely enjoying his company. Beneath the billionaire facade was a sharp mind and a dry wit that reminded her of her grandmother's stories. "May I ask why you wanted to see me?" Reginald finally asked. "I assume this isn't purely social." Lily met his gaze steadily. "Because someone is lying to you and I thought you deserved to know the truth." The silence that followed was loaded with possibility. "Nia Williams is playing you," Lily said simply, watching Reginald's face for any sign of surprise. There was none, which told her everything she needed to know about his intelligence. "I'm 72, my dear, not naive," he replied with a slight smile. "Beautiful young women don't typically seek out elderly men for stimulating conversation. But you don't know about Franklin." Lily pulled out her phone, queuing up one of several recordings Diana had helped her obtain. "My husband. Nia's real target." As Franklin's voice filled the library, detailing his plans to steal her children and disappear with Nia, Lily watched Reginald's expression transform. The casual acceptance of a transactional relationship gave way to something much darker. "She's been using your generosity to fund an affair," Lily continued. "Those jewelry gifts you gave her? She wears them to hotels where she meets my husband. The credit cards you provided? They're paying for romantic dinners with the man who's stealing my children's future." Reginald was quiet for a long moment, his fingers steepled beneath his chin. "You could have taken this to the press. Made quite a scandal. Instead you came to me privately. Why? Because you remind me of my grandmother's stories. A man who values loyalty above all else." Lily leaned forward slightly. "And because I think we can help each other." "Ah." Reginald's smile returned, sharper now. "And what exactly are you proposing?" "Nia thinks she's playing the long game, positioning herself for your inheritance. Franklin thinks he's the mastermind, stealing everything I've worked for." Lily's voice hardened. "I think they both need to learn what happens when you underestimate people who've survived more than they have. You want revenge. I want justice. And I want my children to grow up understanding that actions have consequences." She paused. "Plus, I think you're tired of being seen as just a wallet with legs." Reginald laughed. A genuine sound that probably hadn't echoed through these rooms in years. "Eleanor raised you very well indeed. Tell me more about this plan of yours." The charity gala at the Metropolitan Museum was the perfect stage for Act 1 of Lily's revenge. She'd spent hours preparing. A stunning emerald gown that hugged every curve, professional makeup that emphasized her natural beauty, and most importantly, confidence that radiated from every pore. Nia was already there, draped on Reginald's arm like an expensive accessory. Her silver dress sparkled under the museum lights, and her laughter tinkled like wind chimes as she worked the crowd. Franklin stood across the room, looking handsome in his tuxedo but uncomfortable in this world of old money and older traditions. "Lily." Nia's voice carried genuine shock when she spotted her. "What are you doing here?" "Reginald invited me." Lily replied smoothly, accepting a glass of champagne from a passing waiter. We discovered we have quite a bit in common. Do we now? Reginald appeared at Lily's side, offering his arm with old-fashioned gallantry. I was just telling Mrs. Harrison about the museum's new acquisition. Renaissance pieces have always fascinated me. As they moved through the crowd, Lily could feel eyes following them, guests trying to decipher the relationship between the distinguished billionaire and the striking woman who clearly wasn't his usual type. More importantly, she could feel Nia's gaze burning into her back. You're quite the actress, Reginald murmured as they paused before a priceless painting. I'm learning from the best, Lily replied, watching Franklin approach through her peripheral vision. My husband looks confused. Good evening, sir, Franklin said, extending his hand to Reginald with forced confidence. Franklin Harrison. I don't believe we've met. Ah yes, the husband. Reginald's handshake was firm despite his age. Your wife has been telling me fascinating stories about your anniversary celebration. Franklin's face went pale, but before he could respond, Nia materialized at his side, her fingers possessively gripping Reginald's other arm. Darling, they're serving dinner, she said, her voice strained. We should find our table. Of course, Reginald agreed. Lily, you'll join us, won't you? I'd hate to continue our conversation later. The dinner that followed was a masterclass in psychological warfare disguised as polite society conversation. 2 weeks after the museum gala, Lily found herself in Reginald's private study, watching him sign documents that would change everything. His lawyer, a stern woman named Patricia Rivers, witnessed each signature with professional detachment. This is highly unusual, Mr. Ashworth, Patricia warned. Changing your will so dramatically and so quickly. I'm 72, Patricia, not senile, Reginald replied dryly. Mrs. Harrison has proven herself to be exactly the kind of person I want to benefit from my life's work. The new will was elegant in its simplicity. While Nia would still receive a generous settlement, enough to live comfortably but not extravagantly, the bulk of Reginald's estate would go to Lily. More specifically, it would go to the woman who showed me that true companionship means honesty, even when the truth is painful. Nia's going to be furious, Lily observed, reviewing the documents. Oh, she won't know until it's too late, Reginald smiled. But Franklin will find out much sooner. That evening, Lily sat in her car outside Franklin's new apartment, a luxury high-rise he'd rented with their stolen money. Through the floor-to-ceiling windows, she could see him pacing, phone pressed to his ear. The private investigator had planted just enough information to make him panic. Her own phone buzzed with a text from Nia. Girl, we need to talk. Something weird is happening with Reggie. Lily smiled as she typed back. Of course. Tomorrow for coffee. But instead of coffee, tomorrow would bring the beginning of the end. The custody hearing Franklin had secretly filed for was scheduled for next week, confident that his accusations of Lily being an unfit mother would stick. What he didn't know was that Diana had copies of every hotel receipt, every financial transfer, every piece of evidence that would paint him as the lying, cheating thief he'd become. More importantly, what neither Franklin nor Nia knew was that Reginald's health was deteriorating faster than his doctors had predicted. The old man was determined to see justice served before time ran out. The family court waiting room felt like a scene from Lily's worst nightmare. Franklin sat across from her with his lawyer, projecting confidence while she tried to project calm. What he didn't see was Diana Richards seated in the back row, a briefcase full of evidence at her feet. All rise for the Honorable Judge Ezra, the bailiff announced. Judge Ezra was known for her no-nonsense approach to family law and her particular disdain for parents who put their own interests above their children's welfare. She reviewed the case file with sharp eyes before addressing the court. Mr. Harrison, your petition alleges that Mrs. Harrison is mentally unstable and financially irresponsible. These are serious accusations that require substantial proof. Franklin's lawyer stood confidently. Your Honor, we have documentation showing Mrs. Harrison's erratic behavior, including reckless spending and inappropriate relationships with much older men. I see. Judge Ezra turned to Lily's attorney. Response. Your Honor, we'd like to present evidence that will show this entire proceeding is based on projection and deception. What followed was a systematic destruction of Franklin's case. Hotel receipts showing his affair, financial records proving his theft, recorded conversations revealing his plan to disappear with the children. The courtroom fell silent as Diana's evidence painted a picture of a man willing to destroy his family for his own selfish desires. But the moment that broke everything was when Amara and Kai were called to testify. Their little voices describing how Daddy had been acting weird, and how they'd seen him kissing Aunt Nia, cut through the legal jargon like knives. Daddy promised we'd go on a big trip, Kai said innocently. But Mommy couldn't come. I told him that wasn't fair. Judge Ezra's expression grew thunderous. Mr. Harrison approached the bench. 20 minutes later, Franklin emerged from chambers looking like a broken man. Not only had he lost his bid for custody, but Judge Ezra had granted Lily a restraining order and ordered him to make immediate restitution for the stolen funds. As they left the courthouse, Lily's phone rang. Reginald's voice was weak but triumphant. I heard the good news. Are you ready for phase 2? Reginald's health had declined rapidly over the past month, but his mind remained sharp as ever. Confined to a wheelchair but dressed impeccably, he held court in his penthouse while Nia fluttered around him like an anxious butterfly. The doctor says you need rest, Nia insisted, adjusting his blanket with practiced care. Maybe we should postpone tonight's dinner party. Nonsense, Reginald replied firmly. This gathering is important. Besides, Lily will be here and I so enjoy her company. The dinner party was an intimate affair. Just 6 guests including Lily, Nia, Franklin, who looked haggard and desperate, and 2 of Reginald's oldest friends. The conversation flowed over courses of exquisite food, but underneath the civilized veneer, tension crackled like electricity. Franklin, you look troubled, Reginald observed, cutting his steak with deliberate precision. Business difficulties? Something like that, Franklin muttered, shooting venomous glances at Lily. I find that financial problems often stem from poor character, Reginald continued conversationally. A man who would steal from his own children, for instance, rarely prospers in the long term. The silence that followed was deafening. Nia's fork clattered against her plate and Franklin's face drained of color. I'm not sure what you're implying, Franklin said carefully. Oh, I never imply, Reginald smiled. I prefer direct communication, rather like Lily here. She told me exactly what kind of man you are, Franklin. And what kind of woman you are, Nia. Nia's laugh was brittle. Darling, you're not making sense. Maybe the medication. My mind is perfectly clear, Reginald interrupted. Clear enough to recognize genuine affection when I see it. Clear enough to spot fortune hunters and adulterers. Clear enough to change my will accordingly. The room erupted in chaos. Nia shrieked denials while Franklin lunged forward, only to be restrained by Reginald's security team. Through it all, Lily sat calmly, watching her tormentors finally face consequences. You planned this, Nia snarled at Lily. You seduced him. I gave him something you never could, Lily replied evenly. Honesty. The reading of Reginald Ashworth's will took place exactly 1 week after he passed peacefully in his sleep, surrounded by people who genuinely cared about him. His lawyer's office was packed. Distant relatives who'd never visited, business associates, and various women who'd hoped to benefit from his wealth. Nia sat in the front row, dressed in expensive black, confident that her months of companionship had secured her future. Franklin lurked in the back, probably hoping for some spillover benefit. Lily sat quietly to the side, holding her children's hands and thinking about the remarkable man who'd become an unlikely friend in his final months. The bulk of my estate, Patricia Rivers read in her clear voice, including all properties, business holdings, and liquid assets totaling approximately $240 million, I leave to Lily Harrison, a woman who showed me that true companionship is built on honesty, respect, and genuine affection. The room exploded. Relatives shouted about mental incompetence, business partners questioned the will's validity, and Nia screamed accusations of manipulation. Through it all, Lily sat stunned, barely processing the magnitude of what had just happened. There's more, Patricia continued once order was restored. To Nia Williams, who provided companionship during my final years, I leave the sum of $500,000 in this message. True wealth cannot be stolen, only earned through character. To Franklin Harrison, I leave nothing but this advice. A man who would steal from children deserves neither wealth nor respect. As the crowd dispersed in various states of shock and outrage, Patricia approached Lily privately. "He wanted you to have this," she said, handing over a sealed envelope. Inside, in Reginald's careful handwriting, "Dear Lily, use this gift wisely. Build the life you deserve, raise your children with the values Eleanor taught you, and remember that the best revenge is living well. Your friend always, Reggie." Lily wiped away tears, feeling the weight of responsibility and the lightness of freedom in equal measure. 6 months later, Lily stood on the balcony of her new home, a beautiful house in the suburbs with a big backyard where Amara and Kai could play safely. The inheritance had been contested, investigated, and ultimately upheld. Reginald's lawyers had been thorough, his wishes clear, and his mental competence well documented. Franklin had been forced to return every stolen penny, plus interest and penalties. Unable to afford his luxury apartment, he'd moved in with his elderly mother, who'd made her disappointment in her son abundantly clear. His business had collapsed under the weight of scandal, and his reputation in their social circle was permanently destroyed. Nia had fared slightly better, but not by much. The $500,000 seemed generous until legal fees and debts consumed most of it. Without Reginald's support, she'd been forced to take a job at a local boutique. Her dreams of easy wealth evaporated like morning mist. "Mommy, are we rich now?" Amara asked, joining Lily on the balcony with a glass of lemonade. "We're secure, baby girl," Lily replied, pulling her daughter close. "But more importantly, we have each other and we have our integrity. That's worth more than all the money in the world." The doorbell rang and Kai raced to answer it. "Mom, it's Diana." Diana Richards had become more than an investigator. She'd become a trusted friend. "I brought news," she announced, settling into a comfortable chair. "Franklin filed for bankruptcy yesterday, and Nia's been served with papers from 3 different creditors." Lily felt a moment of something that might have been pity, but it passed quickly. They'd made their choices just as she'd made hers. "What about us?" she asked. "Any more legal challenges?" "All clear. The estate is officially yours, no more contests possible." Diana smiled. "You're free to build whatever life you want." As evening fell and her children played in their safe, beautiful home, Lily reflected on the journey that had brought them here. She'd started as a naive woman who believed in fairy tales and ended as someone who understood that sometimes you have to write your own happy ending. The betrayal still hurt. It probably always would. But it no longer defined her. She'd taken the worst thing that had ever happened to her and transformed it into the foundation for something better. Franklin and Nia had tried to destroy her family, but instead, they'd inadvertently given her the strength to build something stronger. Her phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "I heard about your windfall. Congratulations on your manipulation skills." Lily smiled as she deleted the message without responding. Some people would never understand the difference between manipulation and justice, between seduction and genuine connection. Looking out at her children's laughter and Diana's friendship, surrounded by the security that Reginald's final gift had provided, Lily knew she'd chosen the right path. The best revenge indeed was living well. Thanks for watching. Give us a like if you like the video and share with us in the comments what you think about this lovely tale. We always enjoy reading your comments.